helping Sesame Street begin and become an educational tool used worldwide is Joan Ganz Cooney's leadership and legacy.
Born in Phoenix, Arizona in 1929, Joan Ganz Cooney said a high school teacher who led discussions in class on race relations and poverty sparked her interest in social and political problems.
I went to University of Arizona and majored in education because mothers in those days said to their daughters, major in education so that you can teach if your husband dies.
However, Cooney did not intend to let marriage stop her from working, and she did not constrain her career to a schoolhouse. After college, she went to New York City to work as a television publicity writer and began to produce public affairs documentaries. She won an Emmy for her documentary Poverty, Anti-Poverty, and the Poor.
Before Sesame Street, there was little programming targeted for children. They ended up watching shows for adults, full of commercials that did not benefit them. In 1966, Lloyd Morissette, the vice president of the Carnegie Corporation, asked Joan Ganz Cooney the question that would change the face of television. Do you think television could be used to teach young children? He, Cooney, Louis Freeman, and two people from the Carnegie Corporation met to start a project that became Sesame Street. When the Carnegie Corporation requested a report to see what television could do to better meet young children's needs, Freeman said, "Of course Joan wouldn't be interested. She's a public affairs person." Cooney disagreed, saying, "Oh, yes, I would." She soon realized that some people considered the project unimportant because a woman led it, but Cooney continued her work. Cooney said later,
It was absolutely what I was born to do, and I knew it.
her report was titled The Potential Uses of Television in Preschool Education. Cooney consulted educational experts around the country about what criteria the show should contain to best teach children. The experts Cooney interviewed for the report believed the show should give children the opportunity to interact with the program. They also suggested a weekly half-hour show for parents. The parent show would give parents suggestions about supporting their child's needs, as well as tell parents what would happen in that week's episode. Cooney's findings became the foundation of the show Sesame Street. Someone suggested to Cooney that the Children's Television Workshop, CTW, should make commercials to teach children numbers and letters, because parents often notice their children singing commercial jingles, reading names of products, and reciting advertisement slogans. If children could recite advertisements, could CTW use the same strategy to teach numbers and letters? On Monday, November 10, 1969, Sesame Street aired on television for the first time on nearly 190 public and commercial stations. A reporter called the show an exciting example of what can be accomplished when inventive attention is paid to the care and feeding of young minds. It was shown on PBS and sponsored by the letters WSNE and the numbers 2 and 3. By December of 1969, families watched Sesame Street in more than 2 million homes. Half of the United States 3 to 5-year-olds watched it.
Really the first show that I'm aware of that really was targeting education and made education fun at that very young preschool age.
Cooney was thrilled about partnering with Jim Henson, whose Muppets made the show much more enjoyable for kids. However, the show received a negative reaction as well. Critics doubted the show's educational value. They thought it was a lavishly funded government project that attracted a small audience. They also thought that it degraded learning rather than teaching lessons.
I don't think it's the overall answer. As an early childhood educator, I think that there's a lot more that needs to be done as well.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, which is our professional organization for pediatricians, actually recommends no TV at all for kids under 2.
I think Sesame Street is a good supplement to preschool education. It can help kids a lot, but it can never substitute for really being in a classroom with teachers and other students.
Despite the show's limitations and the criticism it has faced, Sesame Street is the longest-running children's program in the U.S. Today, versions of Sesame Street are broadcast in more than 140 countries worldwide and seen by over 100 million children, making some people call it the longest street in the world. At first, Cooney didn't think other countries would be interested in Sesame Street, but the show's teaching tactics proved effective around the world.
Sesame Street was developed to try and close the gap, to help so that all kids were prepared.
it's not just the show from the United States. It's producers and actors and puppeteers that work in their specific countries, in their specific languages, creating a show for kids from that country.
In my personal experience, children who've been exposed to pre-academic skills and concepts before entering school are more ready for academic concepts in school than children who were not.
The Children's Television Workshop, now Sesame Workshop, wanted to make a show that would reach children who both could and could not attend preschool.
We are desperately looking for ways of using the new media to teach children on iPads with specially created material.
In addition to creating Sesame Street, CTW began the Joan Ganz Cooney Center in 2007. Today, the center's goal is to find out how digital media helps children learn information used to improve educational technology. The center conducts its research by focusing on the challenges of educating children. In particular, the center aims to promote literacy through 3 different core initiatives. Through its educational and technological programs, the Joan Ganz Cooney Center is continuing its founder's goal to help children thrive nationwide.
Digital media can help children learn academic skills like learning the alphabet or counting, but it can also help them learn other things like social emotional skills.
Children are motivated to learn when using digital media. When students are motivated, then they participate more in a learning activity and it's more memorable for them. Digital media also helps students to learn because it can be used to present academic material in a new way. Exposing students to academic material in a variety of ways helps them to access content more fully instead of just teaching them something in one way only.
There is great power in digital media.
Cooney served as the Children's Television Workshop CEO for more than 20 years. In November 1989, however, she told Jim Henson that she would step down as CEO and became the company's chairwoman. Now she lives with her husband, Peter Peterson, in New York.
The leadership of Joan Ganz Cooney is helping Sesame Street begin, creating a program that teaches children basic skills and subjects all around the world. She recognized the educational, emotional, and physical needs of children ages 0 to 5 and addressed them.
We know that our whole child curriculum helps children, what we're calling nowadays, grow smarter, stronger, and kinder.
Sesame Workshop is a place parents can turn to for valuable advice. Everything from coping with divorce to getting vaccine.
People that are creating Sesame Street, they're educators and they're psychologists and they're people that know how to make shows that are really fun for kids.
We actually have proven that children who watch Sesame Street are better prepared for school.
Cooney influences millions of children in an increasingly technological world. Her leadership led to television becoming more accepted and appropriate as a mode of education. Cooney's legacies have helped children everywhere by teaching them directly despite their socioeconomic status. When she went to a Sesame Street live show, she saw how her dream of reaching out to the less privileged children had been fulfilled. The cost of the show are reasonable as well. The U.S. government would have had to spend billions of dollars to put all preschool-age children in classrooms in the 1960s. Instead, Cooney conceived an $8 million project that could change the world in a way, as she put it. Sesame Street showed what was possible. Now others have followed and will continue to. Altogether, Cooney has changed the face of young children's education, leaving an impact felt in hearts both young and old.